everyone, my name is Jessie Jennings and welcome to Art Journaling with Plaid. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a special interest collage using things that are special to you. So let's get started. So the supplies you'll need for your art journaling page today is of course your art journal. I've got a new page open here with my little clips to keep my pages from buckling while they're drying. I'll be using the brand new art journaling kit, which comes with 12 FolkArt paints, this great 2-in-1 decoupage tool, our 8-ounce Mod Podge, and our 10-piece variety brush set. I've also got some scissors here, some water and paper towels, and my palette paper. And then to create our actual collage today, I've brought some things that are special to me. So I've printed out some personal photos. This is a picture of my dog Gus, my favorite animal, which is a sea turtle. I've got some butterflies in here because one of my favorite interests is entomology. I love learning about bugs and insects. And then also I cut out Dolly Parton from my cake mix because she's probably my favorite celebrity ever. I love Dolly Parton. In addition to some of these personal images that I've printed out, I have some of our Mod Podge printables from our Mod Podge printable library. So if you didn't know, on plaidonline.com, we have a whole library of free printables, and these are just a few of them. We've got lots of seasonal things, nice patterns, alphabets, and things like that. So I went through and kind of picked some patterns that spoke to me. So my favorite color is yellow, so I love this daisy print. I like this daisy print too, just because it's so bold. This was a special Mod Podge print. And then I've got some pink and teal, just because they kind of go with the rest of my page. My favorite holiday ever is Halloween, so I couldn't exclude that from my special interest page, because that's something that's really special to me. So I took these Halloween pages and I shrunk them down, you can see, because I wanted the elements to be a little bit smaller for my page. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start cutting out some of these things. So I've cut out all my elements, so now I'm going to put these aside for a couple minutes while we create the background of our page. So for my background, I think I'm going to do sort of a starburst looking pattern, and I'm going to do that using paints and these Mod Podge free downloadables. I'm going to start by cutting out some of my papers. So I'm going to move this aside for now, and I'm going to grab a ruler, an X-Acto knife, and my little cutting mat. And I'm just going to start cutting these papers in sort of strips that kind of go out. So you will get that starburst effect when we put them together at the end. So I'm going to start cutting these now. So you can see just like that. We can trim them, but starting narrower and then getting wider. So I'm going to cut off the white parts. Just give them a little trim. I'm going to slide my journal back over, and we're going to lay out our papers. So I think I'll start with my sun being right here, and I'll probably pick one of these elements at the end to kind of be the start of the sunburst. But for now, we just need to focus on the background. So I moved it over a little bit so all of my papers are long enough to cover the page. And in between here, I'm going to be using paint to fill that in. That's why I've got some gaps. It's okay if they overlap here because we'll put something there to cover it up at the end to be the center of our sunburst. So I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to Mod Podge this down. So I'm going to grab my flat brush, and I've got my Mod Podge mat that comes in our brand new art journaling kit. I'm going to start adding Mod Podge to my papers. You need a little bit of Mod Podge, especially when you're adhering paper to paper. Just enough to coat the surface is all you need. We can use our 2-in-1 decoupage tool to smooth it out. If you put papers overlapping the center of your journal, you just want to make sure you use your decoupage tool, your brayer and squeegee, to really make sure that paper is nice and snug in the center. So that way when we close it later, it won't get wrinkled. There'll be plenty of extra paper to fold, and you won't mess up your page when your book is closed. So I've got my starburst pattern here, and I like the way it looks, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim all of the edges off where the book pages end. So now that we've got our starburst stripes down, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill in between with some paint. So I've pulled some coordinating colors here. They also happen to be my favorite colors from the kit. So I'll be using some daffodil yellow, some festive fuchsia, bright pink, and then some turquoise. So I'm going to start by doing something like a watercolor effect. I'm going to grab a smaller brush here and I'm going to water down my yellow a little bit. That's pretty watery. And I'm going to start painting it in the background. We're going to do, like I said, a faux watercolor effect. So I love doing watercolor effects in my art journal because you can do it over things. It's really great for layering. You can color in black and white photos. You can do backgrounds like we're doing here. I'm going to use this all over it. I'm going to do lots of blending as well. So we're starting with yellow and we'll go back with some of our pinks and our turquoise too because they coordinate with our papers really nicely. I'm being really loose with it, you can see, because I want it to look really watercolory. Okay, so I'm going to grab some of my festive fuchsia and my bright pink. You can see I'm not using much paint. It doesn't take much for this sort of technique. They got mostly water, very little paint. And I'm going to make sure I kind of blend those together. I'm going to make sure all of the white areas of my pages, or of my page I should say, are covered up by the time we're done with this technique. I'm going to leave some areas because I still am going to use my turquoise too. Now we're going to let this dry before we start adding our other elements on top. Okay, so now that our paint is dry, we can start adding our personal elements and things that we've printed out and collected and things that are special to only you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put Dolly Parton at the center because I love Dolly Parton, of course, and I love the way the colors go with the rest of the page here. But since this one is cardboard, I don't want to put it right in the center because when it folds, it might ruin the image. So I'm going to put it to the side and I'm going to take some of these daisies that are just on paper and sort of layer them around it because those will bend much easier when I go to close my book later. So I'm going to start by layering these daisies. Got my Mod Podge mat. Just like we did before, I want to make sure that I get that paper tucked in to the fold. So when I fold it later, it'll remain the same. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add my little Dolly Parton cutout. And since it's cardboard, I'll probably add a little more Mod Podge than I might use for some of the thinner papers, just to make sure it stays on and adheres really well to my notebook. Use my brayer to make sure that it's nice and flush so that it adheres really well. Look how much she matches our Mod Podge paper. I think that looks so cute. That's one of the really great things about making a collage like this is it's so special to you. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It just matters that you're relaxing, taking some time for yourself, and picking out things that you enjoy. It's just for you. That's one of the best parts about art journaling. So I'm going to put a little flower over here just to kind of balance her out. All right, so now we have kind of the majority of our page done, but I do want to add all the rest of the elements and things that are special to me. So I'm going to kind of lay it out and see what I like and see what works, and then we'll glue them down afterwards. So I think I like the way this looks. I kind of ended up grouping it by category. I've got my Halloween things over here because I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. I've got my butterflies kind of flying upwards, and then I kind of have all my favorite animals, including my pet Gus over here on the right. So since I'm happy with this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to Mod Podge it down. So that's it for our collage page today. I had so much fun using my favorite things to make this collage with you guys. I hope you learned something and I hope you had fun making your collage too. Make sure to check out all of our art journaling lessons, and for more inspiration and tips, go to plaidonline.com.